Good morning. Today I would like to discuss credibility in the news and the importance of understanding the truth behind what we see. I have selected 3 stories from various news outlets, and I say news hesitantly because after analysis I found that not all of the stories seem to meet the proper criteria. Professor Snyder from Stony Brook University states that to be news, a story must be of an independent source with valid evidence and no major pieces of information missing. To assist in analyzing these stories as trustworthy, I utilized the ironically named I'm Vain test for each one. My first story surprised me. It came directly from ABC News 2010, a source which many Americans, including myself, consider vested and valid. This story focused on a travel warning in Europe, though through the title and throughout the broadcast, the viewer was led to believe that the warning was actually in America, and this affected the overall credibility. There was little to no evidence to back up the claim as to why the travel warning was in place, other than sources that simply asserted that there was an imminent risk of a terrorist attack. Some sources were authoritative, such as a reporter directly speaking to Scotland Yard. There were multiple sources used throughout the article, though most were vague and unnamed. It appeared that ABC was more interested in getting viewers to watch a possibly dramatic story unfold that had little validity than getting the correct information out. The second story I read obviously had limited credibility simply from looking at the source. The story was about healthy food labeling at Walmart and was created and distributed by Walmart itself. The evidence behind how the healthy food was categorized came from unnamed nutrition experts, and estimates about how much money was saved came directly from Walmart. There was no verification on how these numbers were reached or how the money was actually saved. In Walmart's defense, they are an authoritative source when it comes to the timeline of when different stages of marketing and labeling processes should be completed. All of the sources, including the reporters and interviewees, came from Walmart. There is no obvious outside representative named. The only possible outside source could be the nutrition experts, but their names and origins were left out. Due to the single-sided source and lack of evidence, the viewer cannot make an informed decision on the subject, and therefore this is not news. The third story I read appears to be the most valid of the 3. The news source, CBS, is generally seen as a trustworthy source that provides credible information, similar to ABC. The news story I chose was in regards to the Boston bombing, and the author appears to have no other motive than to provide information to the public. Multiple sources were utilized, from the bomber's family to different named levels of police and security authorities. Most information can be fact-checked, and most sources were authoritative, as they would have direct access to the information that they are sharing. There were some times when the information was a little confusing, but it came as a direct quote, such as when the state police spokesman, David Prosopio, stated, "The incident in Watertown did involve we believe to be explosive devices, potentially being used against police officers." Overall, enough unbiased information was given for the viewer to make an informed decision of the events in general. As you can see, it's not always obvious which organization or story has the best interest of the audience in mind. For example, the ABC News story was more interested in providing a dramatic scene for the audience and was often confusing. Some stories are obviously elaborated upon, such as the one run by Walmart. While it appears to be a news story on the surface, it is really obviously a commercial. And lastly, some sources do provide news, such as the CBS story. It is important to read carefully because, as even in this article, there is some information that is confusing and elaborated. Thank you for joining me today, and have fun in your search for real news.